We are not alone. You are watching Contact TV with your hosts, Leslie Mitchell-Clark
and Wes Roberts,
exploring ufology, metaphysics, and beyond with the world's foremost experts. We are not alone. And welcome everyone to an episode of Contact TV. And always, I'm here, your hostess, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and I'm joined by my partner in crime here,
Wes Roberts. Hello.
That's right. And we are incredibly, we're always, but I think we're super excited because we're welcoming back a very highly favored guest. And she noted all the author of books, including the wonderful tome, Meet Orbs Housing.
Oh, that's good.
And Meet Energy, which we are particularly focused on today, of course.
Cool.
And talking about Susan Collins, who is a master dowser. If that isn't a term, it certainly should be. Susan, she is foremost authority on saying also a number of other disciplines, and we are very proud and welcome her. Especially on the use of alien cosmic, which is third fantastic, and it is in tow, and that's going to be on face and 24th and
I'm actually off the conference, just but happy to be able to talk. And my question is alien want.
That's a big subject, and
It has 15 minutes to do it. So it's this one, right? Just get right to it.
well, thought travels faster than speed, so
Yeah.
I'm sure if anybody do it, you can do it, and that's your. And welcome to Contact TV. We're thrilled to have you. So, tell us a little bit now. I know that you came into this world with heightened intuitive sensibilities, to say the very least, and you certainly were having visual manifestations even as a little girl. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean it's a great gift that it sounds so cool on TV to say that you have psychic ability, but it's terrifying for a child, and even for children today. But when I was growing up, there was no one to talk to about these sorts of things. I was clairsentient. I could always feel beings and things around me, and I didn't know what they were, and my family would tease me and I would just cry, basically. So I was afraid of the dark until I was 45. Which is a long time to be afraid of the dark. And in there as well, I had rheumatoid arthritis, diagnosed when I was 29. My hands were claws for 23 years. They didn't open or close. So and my immune system shut down, basically. So I had always been healthy. I'd always been this intuitive, frightened child, basically. When I was 19, I decided to step into the world, and I remember it being a conscious decision because I was very detached coming till I was about 19, and then I made the decision, I think I'll get involved, and I got a boyfriend, and that's when I realized that this planet is the planet of pain.
Yeah.
So, if we were talking alien context, this planet looks like it's going to be the party planet, where we can eat, we can drink, we have physical sensation. But what we as humans experience, and what our human path is honestly the experience of pain, dealing with pain, and choices around that. So to leap ahead a little bit, sometimes we get visitors from other dimensions intentions who think this is going to be the greatest experience. Let's go down to earth and party. And it turns out to be quite a difficult thing to be a human being. We have emotion, we have all kinds of stuff going on. We have physical issues, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic issues. So part of my path at 19 was to choose to be fully human. It took about, I had 10 years of that. I got into money, corporate world, and just like having fun with the sensory aspects of the planet. So I had 10 years of that, and then at 29 got shut down and spent the next 30 years trying to figure out how to get out of this planet of pain, what to do. I've worked with medical people and alternative medicine and all the rest of it. And it wasn't until I found dowsing, which is the detection and transformation of energy, and we use a little pendulum. People are probably familiar with that. It looks so simple. It's deceptively simple, but it's a biofeedback device that helps make aware the body's own wisdom. So we have our conscious minds, our subconscious. Now in neuroscience, we're talking about the amygdala, which is the place in the brain that stores the emotional traumatic memory.
Yes.
And so again, referring to the alien experience, many of us, and I have a lot to say here. One thing.
Good.
Perfect.
Let's go. What to say first? And since we're talking alien context, what I notice in talking to many experiencers is that the experience seems to happen in a subconscious state or an unconscious state, or during sleep or during sleep paralysis. And it's like they're the aliens are sneaking around. They're in stealth mode. Like, why would they be in stealth mode? But all these things that happen when we're not quite awake, the emotionally traumatic memory is stored in a part of the brain called the amygdala, that the conscious brain, the neocortex, it can't pull it out.
Right.
So we get triggered. I still get triggered. A door bangs, I'm by myself. And for me, it was always ghosts. I never got to aliens until recently. I thought it was always ghosts out to get me. And I'm a ghost buster as well as an alien buster and many other things. But once we can go in through dowsing, and dowsing is a great way to get into the amygdala, the part of the brain. Dowsing allows us to access the emotionally traumatic memories that may have occurred in an alien interaction that we don't really remember. So experiencers often say they have a feeling something happened, they have a memory, but they can't quite place it. Dowsing is a way you get into the brain, you pull out the memory, and you look at it. And once we can look at these memories, it takes the power away. Then we can deal with the facts of what happened. So I'm actually characterizing aliens at this time because they're sneaking around and because they lie about it. So I'm in constant communication. So going back to dowsing, I found dowsing in the year 2000. It's an excellent way to interact with interdimensional energy. So ghosts, nature spirits, the subconscious, past lives, future lives. There's many levels of consciousness that we have access to that our normal little brain can't get, but through dowsing we get at. So through all those years of accessing these different levels of consciousness, I used to just call them interdimensional energy. But I'm inspired now through speaking with experiencers and speaking with the alien community to try to face more directly what is happening, who is doing it, what do they want, why, where do they come from? Like, those basic journalistic questions. So I'm characterizing these aliens now who are sneaking around. When I interrogate them, and when I wrote the alien book, I ended up kind of interviewing different groups of them, which, the audacity of that. But I have very simple ways that are safe and accurate to communicate with different levels of consciousness. And I'll be teaching this at the Alien Cosmic Expo, and I teach it in all my work as well. So something would happen, and I would approach, through my protocols and all things, I would approach these alien beings. Why are you here, or what are you doing? Some of them, bless my mother, she died at 102 last fall.
Wow.
I know she's fine because I check on her regularly, because that's part of my ability to work with those who have passed, humans who have passed. I was out on the porch the other day, getting ready for my my summer series of lectures and all the rest, and an energy approaches me, and I feel I'm clairsentient, so I go, something's come in. What is that? And this energy pretends it's my mother, and I know it's pretending. I said, and I'm asking with my dowsing tool, who are you? Well, I'm your mother. How are things? Oh, they're not going so well. Things aren't turning out. I say, no, they're not turning out. But it's I know my mother's fine. And this consciousness that rewound and said, well, actually, I'm the Mother Earth, and it started to like change the story.
Wow.
And they're not very good liars, honestly.
Yeah.
These beings, because they're not human. They don't know how to sneak up. So to get back to what I'm trying to say, I'm characterizing some aliens as naughty 8-year-olds who are going around stealing cookies and then lying about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of it that way, it kind of takes the fear out of it. So what we need to do as humans, for these visitors to our planet, is to teach them human manners. So no more sneaking around, no more stealth mode. That's a big thing. So I asked, was you going to say something?
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. After you're finished.
Well, I won't finish. That's the problem. But I ask, what I ask for and what I demand for my own practice is that there will be no contact without prior informed consent. Mm-hmm. So no more sneaking up, no more kidnapping. Mm-hmm. You may not approach my energy, my being, without first making an appointment, without prior informed consent.
Very good. And Susan, in my practice as a hypnotherapist, and certainly I work tremendously with experiencers. I'm the only MUFON vetted, regressionist that works with people who go through MUFON. But what you have just vocalized is certainly a commonality of experience. And ironically, the first thing that I do is have a client establish those guidelines.
Boundaries.
And once the guidelines are established, then they are generally never violated. So you can make an agreement. And in fact, Wes, who I met initially as a client so many years ago, this poor guy never slept because he was always having experiences of contact of various types, conscious, subconscious, in the sleep states, and he never slept. So I said, and this was in the very beginning of this work that I was doing, I wasn't sure it was going to stick, but I said, just talk to them. Tell them you're in a human body. You cannot function in your sentient life without going into the delta state for at least 8 hours. And by and large, it worked, eh?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Susan, was that I'm familiar from my own standpoint of what you're talking about, because I got to a point of having it being intolerable. So it became intolerable, and I couldn't rest, and we actually had to address that through hypnosis and say, cut me some slack, will you?
Exactly.
Susan, do you find that most of the experiencers that you are working with are in their nature psychically aware people? That the experiencers may be, either they have some agreement in place in the interlife, or they may be sending out a signal of awareness or perception, and they're special people, as Grant Cameron would say. That's why they're sort of selected, because it's possible for there to be a communication that's not necessarily in the dense physical reality.
Good question. I find with my practice that there are both gifted, special people and just ordinary people as well. That some of us, I was talking to a woman the other day, and she talked about aliens. I talk about aliens as being beneficial, non-beneficial, or neutral. I don't go into where they're from or what they look like. It's just all I care about, are they beneficial, non-beneficial, or neutral? So I was speaking with a woman the other day who described, they're all beneficial when they kidnapped me, ... And I said, excuse me, saying they're beneficial and they kidnapped you.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Stockholm syndrome, where you become you're, or you do feel special. I have another young client who's been diagnosed as schizophrenic because he is hearing and experiencing alien presence and alien contact. Often people ask, it could be a wish, be careful what you wish for. This one young woman who said she was abducted but didn't want to call them malevolent, she thought about it for a while and she said, I did say, how can I help? So sometimes we make profound aware vows that permit contact, and sometimes it's as simple, how can I help? Or I wish I could be psychic. I wish I had that experience.
Yeah.
So it opens us up, but it's to maintain the sovereign being. And when we look at releasing vows of contact, contracts that permit contact, we have to look not only at this life, but in previous lives and in future lives. So I'm doing a lot of work with future lives. So we can, this is the beauty of dowsing, we can check all this stuff out, but we can ask in our own lives at this time, is the energy of a vow made in this or a previous lifetime, does the energy of a previous vow in this or a previous lifetime permit contact now? Does the energy of a vow in a future lifetime? We've already made the future vows, and typically I'm finding the future vows are not beneficial to us now as well. So we're really finding time and space are all simultaneous.
Yes. Well, yes, they are.
Yes, they are. But we dose that. We connect with our future selves.
Yeah.
And they're so bossy. Our future selves are so bossy. They're trying to prevent us from God knows what, making mistakes or having the pain that we humans have. So, but we have to tell our future selves, mind your own business. We take the wisdom from the future. We take the wisdom from the past. We integrate it into the present time. But we have to be fully human in this time, wherever we come from. Always. We are human now on this planet.
Indeed. So do you feel, Susan, that we are part of, for lack of a better term, a kind of a soul pool, and that say someone is a Pleiadian and has been for numerous lifetimes, that they are able to say, now I want to try the tough school. I want to go down in the tough school. I want to go to like reform school. And that's an old term. And that so there are, in theory, many of us on the planet that on some deep level are longing to be somewhere else.
You are exactly right on that. So many people want to go home.
Yes.
Where is it? They don't even know where home is, but they have this distant longing for something else. For them, I always say that our job, whatever you came in to do, and some of us, I think, were assigned to come down here. Some of us walked in for the party and realized it's not a party. Some of us came on missions. If I can, and this whole conversation is out there. It's as if some of us came in to the planet Earth for research. We were born here. We are birthright beings of this planet now. But we came in with missions to do research and report back to the home planet. So one of the things we get with people, or we check with people, are you on a mission? Do you need to report back? Do you need to report back in this lifetime? Because some people feel they have to report back now and they're very frustrated. So if we can determine that they can report back in the interlife, as you put it, then that takes a lot of the pressure off. I had one young client who was autistic. He was 15 at the time. He did not speak, although he could hear. I worked with his mother, and I worked with the boy, because he was a boy, while he was asleep in the subconscious. And through the dowsing determined, in fact, that it was as if he had come in from another place, and he had been a high being, or he was still a high being up there, and had said, oh, I can leave the channel open. So he comes to Earth, he's born in a human body, leaving the channel open back to the home world, but there's just too much static for him. So his human being could not handle the amount of stuff back there.
Yeah.
So with dowsing, we closed that gateway, we closed the channel.
Mhm.
It was interesting because as I was doing that, his subconscious was very open to me, very talkative, very agreeable. And then when I started closing that with his agreement, so just be human now, close that up, I found myself on the other side of that barrier, and I started whooshing off as well.
Oh.
So this is something to check for people who are autistic,
Mhm.
who have sensory overload. Are they in fact processing information from other dimensions?
Indeed. Well, that would certainly be a totally reasonable explanation for what's
It is.
going on there, and because and even that's very much in alignment with our friend Grant Cameron, who talks about how these people are a special channel. He hasn't quite gotten to the point where you are, where you can actually, if it's in the benefit of all concerned, shut down the communications until the interlife. But I think autistic people are simply it's like they're being flooded with too much current. It's like they need a step down transformer.
Exactly. I use that expression a lot myself, a step-down transformer. So either dial it back, change the voltage, change your plug, or just shut it down for now.
Yeah.
And we can shut it down on a break. So for children, we might shut it down, and then they can open it up again as adults.
Yeah.
For adults, it's okay to take a break. Like when it's all too much,
Yeah.
you say, just for now, just for today, or just for right now, I just need to rest. I need to sleep. I need to be able to earn a living, because some of these people can't earn a living.
Yeah.
They're disabled.
I know.
Leslie and I talked about this when I did 5 years of hypnosis with her, and we talked about this, and I refer to it as an integration piece.
Yeah.
And so the better I can integrate this, the more I can function normally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Whatever.
I believe that Wes has a job, a contract that he is happily fulfilling. It's almost as if he's living a duality of life. I believe he almost has, he has talked about even going to a place where he works with others and there's a council and his, what is going on in his etheric life. And also, and I wonder if you find this to be true as well, Susan, that if people have had, and I'm not going to use the term abductee, but if people have been experiencers since the time they were children, it seems, I have found that the experiences as children are much more physical. And they're far more physical. And then there seems to be an age of accountability where many experiences are simply brought before a council or a group or an individual and asked, do you want to continue with this work? And they will either say yes or no. And if they say yes, then the experiences themselves seem to become far more etheric. They happen with the etheric body at nighttime during, or at any time there's a sleep phase. Not necessarily, they become less physical. There's less missing time, if you know what I mean.
We don't want missing time.
No, we don't want that.
Like, we can do this work consciously. We don't have to be asleep. This is the brainwave training that we find through dowsing and other modalities, that we can do this fully conscious. So now in meditation, we don't meditate with eyes closed. We meditate with eyes open. I'm as aware of the energy around me as I need to be and as I choose to be. So I do not give permission in my sleep time for anything to come and start warming in. I make appointments, just as I do with people. I make those appointments with interdimensional energies, aliens, ghosts, nature spirits, whatever it is. And I say, and often they'll come in, they'll try to get in if I'm in a session, and there'll be this interfering energy that comes in. I'll say, take a number. I am so literal.
Yeah.
Take the number. I will deal with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I make sure that I put that time in. To me, it's like being in a big empty boardroom, and all kinds of things are in there, and we have an agenda, and I'm in charge. So that's the thing. Who's in charge of the experience? It better be me. I do not give permission for that.
And children, obviously, they may not, if they meet an adult entity, they're not going to know how to take that,
Yeah.
how to take that power, because they're automatically in their life, they're used to doing what adults say and it doesn't matter what the adult looks like. They could be 8 feet tall, they're still an adult.
Yeah. So I think we need to teach and provide psychic protection, not only for adults, but for the children. It should be off limits. It's like when you go fishing, you can't take the little ones, right? So we could make rules for access to this planet and to humans that say you may not touch our children.
Indeed.
I think we need to do that. They should not be messing with adults. They definitely should not be messing with children.
Yeah.
So we need to teach manners. We need to set, these are the rules of this planet. This is how you need to behave. Otherwise, out of here. So many of us are working on this planetary guardianship, and I'm not the only one, but around the world there are people who come together with one heart to protect the planet and to protect the people. So these are common principles of ethics.
Yes.
And we only need to verbalize them and to create them.
You're absolutely right. And my purpose in working with experiencers is to release pain, trauma, release the trauma, and take control.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
To take control, because we absolutely can. And it's sometimes, I'm sure you've experienced that, Susan. Some experiences that you work with have become very comfortable with a victim process.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They feel victims. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Partly because the media has created this horrific picture of what is out there. And if we think of them as bad 8-year-olds stealing cookies and lying, then that takes them down to a level that we can manage. It's like, no, you mustn't do that.
Yeah, indeed.
But how do they know if they've never been told?
How would they know? Go ahead.
It's funny, authors like David Jacobs don't think of these things as naughty 8-year-olds at all, if you've read his stuff.
Done so much damage, authors like David Jacobs. So much fear, so much generation of fear, which is completely counterproductive and not what we're about and not what we have to be about. So we're always dealing, especially on our show, we have a lot of authors on, and occasionally there will be someone who's into that kind of negative, fearful thinking, and we have to dispel that. Now, Susan, do you find that, just talking about orbs a little bit, because I'm so fascinated with this, with all of this pertaining to orbs, do you think that some of the orbs are in fact extraterrestrial or ultra-terrestrial energy? Do you think that they are the energies of people who have crossed over, who are in transition? Are they elemental spirits, or a combination of all of those things?
Well, all of the above, plus emotion. So if you take a picture of two people who love each other standing together, you'll often find an orb over their heart or between them. So the orbs are energy phenomena. It is simply electromagnetic fluctuations, changes in resonance on our own electromagnetic frequencies of our own bodies allow us to photograph different frequencies, different resonant frequencies that are out there. So if you're at a funeral, for example, there's a lot of emotion, and the resonant frequencies may attract the energy of the beloved or the beloved's ancestors. In nature, I take a lot of nature pictures, and the orb energy can actually be the tree spirit, the energy of the tree, the energy of the flower. Because when I first started taking them back in 2008 or sometime, I thought, this is so strange, because I'm taking these orb energies, I see them all around me, and I don't feel any different. So they were not, in these cases, they were not alien presences. It was simply making manifest the energies that were visible, always here. And there are also alien energies, I believe. I've taken humanoid. I've taken many different pictures of energy. They come in the classic circular form, and then that circular form can break open. The membrane breaks open, plasma comes out, and that can shapeshift into different things. They can look like humans. They can look like animals. They can look like various things. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking lately, that like who could be afraid of a little orb?
Yeah.
Nobody, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that they're kind of it's a gateway experience to a more realistic experience, perhaps, of an alien energy. So lots of people are taking orb pictures in a variety of conditions. Everybody gets very excited and they feel happy. It's almost an antidote to all the alien movies and the fangs and all the rest of that. So an orb can seem like, generally speaking, feels like a benign energy. Some people see faces inside of them. And I honestly think that it's a gateway experience to prepare us as humanity to have a more physical experience.
Yeah. I think it's like training wheels. I agree with you, Susan. I do completely. In fact, I was going to tell you about this today, if we digress for just a moment, but after having read your recent book about alien energy and your wonderful book about Meet the Orbs, I thought I would try a little experiment. Now, I've always seen what you call twinklers.
Oh, yes, sparklies.
Sparklers, the little lights. I always saw them, particularly at dusk, particularly in my garden. And my grandmother, being Irish, used to say, oh, well, those are just the fairies. They're doing their little work at night. They're helping the plants. And I accepted that. And but yet in your book, you say, well, often seeing those can be a beginning process of being able to perceive the orbs. That sometimes happens first. So I meditated, I went and sat out in my deck chair, and I sat underneath a tree that I love. I mean, I love this tree. It's a Japanese red maple. I planted it when my younger son was 3. I have a real relationship with this tree. Sounds ridiculous, I know.
No.
It does. So and this was kind of dusk. So I saw at first an array of little sparklers. It looked like a whole herd of fireflies. I've never seen anything like it. And then I started to see some of these little lights turn into rather tiny orbs. I mean, really, but they looked kind of like frogs' eggs, or maybe like they had a little nucleus.
Floating around.
Yes. And some of them zipping fast, and some of them maintaining a rather steady position. And I couldn't even believe this was happening, as I was, I've never seen anything like that before, and I was deep into it. And then I got summoned to do some kind of odious domestic task, and I had to leave. But I really had an experience, and I had an experience, and I think my love for the tree somehow helped open that up.
Trees are conscious.
Yeah.
The standing people. We can talk to trees, and they can tell us things. No, that's a beautiful experience, and it's just simply taking the time to do that, being aware that it's possible, and then opening your heart to that possibility.
Yes. And your book made me believe that it was completely possible.
And it's normal.
Yeah.
It's completely normal. Our experiences are not average, but they are normal.
I have a follow-up question for you, if I may. You said that the orbs are gateway experiences. Are they gates?
Well, that's a good one too. Portals.
Yes.
Are orbs portals? I'm thinking that is quite possible as well. In the photographs I take, the ones that are right on, are like full on like that, are round. But often on the edges of the picture, the circle is as if there's a dome over the sky, and the the orb is on an angle, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Hmm.
Interesting.
So they're not all just like that on the picture.
Mhm.
They're like that, it's as if you like that expression. It's as if there is a dome over the area we're in. Some of the orbs are inside, and some of the orbs are like on the surface of this dome structure. I've also seen pictures where, and I have a theory about pinpoint black holes. That I sometimes see the orbs coming in and kind of expanding. So it's like a bit of light and it expands as if there's been like a little pinhole that comes through the membrane and then expands once it's in our dimension.
Right, right.
Which does make them portals.
Yes.
That makes a great deal of sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I've often wondered.
It does make sense. I've been thinking about this a lot for years and years.
It makes perfect sense.
And this is what science is. We observe, we make notes, and then we make hypotheses, and then we find the one that fits all the facts. And this is true with aliens as well, that we know that not everybody is crazy. We know people are experiencing things. So we have to observe, what are they experiencing? Let's make notes on this, and let's have disclosure. Like let's just be honest about what is going on, and then from that basis, openness, then we could start to develop responses and protection and interaction and hopefully beneficial interaction.
Indeed. Susan, have you ever seen any of this recent photographic work? A lot of it's been done by Patty Greer to deal with the formation of crop circles. And we're sort of jagging off to the left here, but sort of, but not really. So in Patty Greer's work, and several other people too, they have actually witnessed and photographed what they're calling orbs or plasma balls that are directed in some way, and they may be consciousnesses. Patty Greer seems to believe that this is just Earth energy, which is being directed by some higher intelligence to create this incredible pattern as a message.
Or summoned.
Or summoned in some way. So do you think that orbs in some sense could be simply plasma that is being directed by a discarnate intelligence, if you will?
Okay, good question. Again, I think orbs can be many things. Just as there are many different tools, different kinds of hammers, sledgehammer, little hammer. The orbs are an energy phenomena. It's an electromagnetic fluctuation. We know the planet itself is hugely electromagnetic. There's all kinds of currents in the Earth. And again, with dosing, these are things we look at: Earth energies, environmental energies, psychic energies. There's a term called panpsychism. Can't even say it properly. But there's a sense that current science, the way out there, current scientists are saying, perhaps the universe is universally conscious, panpsychic, panpsychism. So this is the new work, and of course the scientists proposing that, scientists are going, that's ridiculous. But there's certain, it's all evidence-based, that there seems to be consciousness. There have been some experiments done with the creation of the crop circles where a group would meditate on a certain design, and then the next day, over in the field, that design would show up. So a telepathic connection between the extraordinarily complex design. So I do believe a good proportion of the crop circles are human-made through Franksism. But I have been in them myself and felt the energy, and you could fake a design, but you can't fake the energy.
So
basically.
true.
Right.
So true.
Yeah.
And that area, particularly the area of Wiltshire, is, most people don't, Stonehenge is actually very close to where most of the crop circles are being found. And I have, like you, experienced the incredible denseness of that energy. It's incredibly unique. The only place I've ever felt anything kind of like it would be in Mesoamerica, at some of the Mayan ruins. But definitely there's a palpable energy. do you think it's because of I know there are a lot of, aquifers, a lot of underground
yeah.
water there. What do you attribute that to?
That's an excellent question as well. I also wonder, why is it that most of the crop circles in the world are only formed in that one specific area,
Yeah.
Abercrombie, Stonehenge? Now, some people say, as far as aquifers go, this is the underlying bedrock and underground water that goes through. I don't think there's anything particularly in the geology of that area that would predetermine this. But the cultures there go back up. I was in Orkney not that long ago, up at Skara Brae, on the Orkney Islands. The goes back 4,000 BC, 1,000 years before Stonehenge. They were building structures up in Orkney, long before the Great Pyramid of Giza. They were building structures in Orkney, and that culture of building megalithic monuments migrated down into the south. There's Salisbury Hill there, which is big Orgo
Yes.
thing. So it may be that the crop circles are in that area because of 5,000 years of history of making large-scale megalithic signs, and signals, big shapes. Now, they've done that as well in Egypt and in Mesoamerica with Machu Picchu and some of that. But that area of England goes back a long, long way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Druids were back there. Like, there's always been magic. I would like to say that. There's always been magic. But for some reason, almost 5,000 years ago, they were building big stone things. And I don't think it was the aliens doing that, because people have recreated, through modern techniques, with ropes and dirt, moving big rocks. There are some things we can't explain, but Stonehenge is not one of them.
Or indeed, we're just recently getting our brains around the idea of sound and sound waves being used. And that could have also helped with all of that. I mean, even in the Bible, they marched around Jericho 7 times with the horns, and the walls dispersed. It's very feasible that this is ancient technology that has been lost, and certainly, there is a school of thought that believes that Ireland is actually sort of the last tip of the Atlantean continent, that was in fact attached at Ireland and went all the way across on the other side, attaching at Nova Scotia and maybe as far as Florida and the Bimini Islands and all that. So we are talking about a humanoid prehistoric culture which had a different kind of scientific knowledge that helped these things to have been made. And I do sort of in my past life reveries, I hear chanting and horns and all kinds of stuff. And even Stonehenge itself, when you also talk about the complete Stonehenge with the huge outer rim, it was designed to project sound, which will of course put people in a trance-like state.
The same with all our cathedrals, Gothic cathedrals, the sound. You one entrains to the sound, and one entrains to the earth energies as well. So from the atmosphere, we have the Schumann resonance created by lightning. The earth itself has electromagnetic pulses. Those of us from this planet are native to this planet, and the energies of the earth can heal us, and the energies of sound can heal us. Part of the modern humans issue is that we're getting our information from phones and computers, and we're spending less time with direct interaction.
Sure.
So that's another place where dowsing puts you directly in touch with the source energy.
Yes. And I'm going to be recommending this to my clients, my hypnosis clients, because many people are coming to me now, and my colleagues, for tech addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time, if you're holding your phone, every time you get a Facebook message, your brain is releasing dopamine and various other chemicals, and it's really completely like, gambling. It's a process addiction. It's like working the one-armed bandit, and we have not protected our children from this. In fact, this is the real terrible issue, that parents are exerting no control because they're on their phones. So everybody is addicted
Right.
to these brain chemistries that are being released constantly, constantly, constantly. And one way, as you say, one beautiful way to counteract that would become in touch with a marvelous, natural, benign process like dowsing.
And also, to get into our bodies, many of my clients aren't fully in their bodies. So we're up in our heads, especially the people on the spiritual path. They're all up, in the upper chakras, and they're not in the lower chakras grounded to the planet.
They're not.
So things like dancing, singing, playing an instrument, touching your body. One of the things in neuroscience now we're doing for people in crisis is to get the person to shake the body. So they come in, they're all excited, and you shake your body, and that helps you get back into your body. You put your hand on your heart, feel your heartbeat, and list the ways you were safe as a human. But it's coming back into the body, and that we can only be sovereign humans when we are fully in our bodies. We're out there in Wishland. We're not as strong as we need to be. So I'm all into, let's go warrior mode.
Yeah.
I have a dowsing related question for you, not to steer away from this topic at all, and it'll take me a minute to get to it. I used to have a friend, let's just call him G, and G used to help remove malevolent spirits or bad guys from people's minds or souls, that these spirits that attach themselves.
Attachments.
And so I know this is something you do, and I wanted to know about how do you douse their soul, or how do you do that?
Remove attachments?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I always begin with a dowsing protocol, and that's something that I hand out to everybody. And I will send to your listeners, if they send me an email, susan@dowser.ca. You can put that on the credits. With protocol in the subject line, I'll send you my little method of how to do it. So I use a dowsing protocol to get in for myself to be safe and accurate. Then I use a triage protocol, just like going to the hospital. So if somebody presents with an issue, is it an earth-based issue, environmental-based issue, psychic-based issue? Then I look at what is the source of the symptoms in the past, the present, or the future. What is the source dimension the issue originates in? Standard dimension other. What reality? Standard other. So if it is some issue originating in another dimension, reality, energetically, right away you know you've got an interdimensional energy. Then you've got to just figure out if it's a ghost energy, past life. Some of us have such strong past life control that we can barely function as humans here now. There are past life presences that want to manipulate us, and future life, but the past life seems to be stronger. So we just go through a process. It's just the checklist of figuring out what it is. Once you identify what the thing is, I start off always by saying, I see you're there. So I address the thing. I see you're there. So I've got a human, and I found an extra consciousness. I say to the extra conscious, I see you're there. Can I help you? It's the most benign thing. Instead of, attacking or any of that, I first establish they're willing to communicate. The ones that are not willing to communicate with me are generally afraid. They're afraid of punishment. They're hiding out. Like, I meet a lot of energies that are hiding out. They don't know what to do or where to go. They somehow got here, either in a walk-in kind of portal or through some kind of interstellar dimensional craft. It's like E.T., everybody went home and left him here. Oh, what am I going to do? And he hides in this little girl's closet. In a way, it's much like that. So the ones that don't want to communicate are afraid of something. I ask, do you want to go home? Usually it's a yes. Do you know how to get there? Yes or no. Sometimes they don't know. Do you have the means to get there? So I find an extra energy, whether it's a ghost or an alien or past life. I address them. I see you there. Can I help you? Do you want to go home? Do you know how to get there? Do you have the means to get there? Quite often, they'll leave easily. worries. They're just, and sometimes they need to be forgiven. They're afraid of being punished. So then we bring in, classically, we bring in the respected and trusted beings from that being's past. And I say everything has a mother.
Mm-hmm.
So in some of my journeys, I've gone out far, far, far into some dimensional universe, and I've seen our collection of universes, and then looked over in my shoulder, and I saw another like universe that was gray. So that's a metaphor for me, but that's where there's no bad things. There's only things in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, like that's what I operate
Yeah.
from. There's nothing
Yeah.
bad. There's just
right.
things in the wrong place,
Mm-hmm.
and they all have mothers, and all the mothers want them to go home.
Yeah.
So we say to remove things. We say, if, we can call in the mother, but we say for the sake of the children. It's always for the sake of the children. We ask for the appropriate energy and means, and and more wording that will permit and assist this extra consciousness, this being, whatever it is, to go to the place that it is meant to be. And then through visualization, because I see little movies going on, I can kind of see what's going on, and off they go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Close that up, and everybody's good.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that.
I completely agree with you. And even in hypnotherapy, we have a protocol for dealing with attachments, which is in complete alignment with what you're talking about. We actually communicate, what do you want? And a lot of times it is about forgiveness. It's about shame. It's about, but indeed, we just talk directly to the part and do exactly what you're talking about. So it's a beautiful thing too, because people don't often, they know they feel bad, but they don't often know why they feel bad. They know that there's something that's sapping their energy or making them sad, or but then when these aspects of personalities can be released, it's a marvelously healing modality. And speaking of healing modalities, Susan, I'm curious to know a little bit more about how you were able to work with your autoimmune, your osteoarthritis situation through dowsing.
Rheumatoid.
Rheumatoid. I'm sorry. Yes.
It all boils down to the self not recognizing the self, I think. I went through a lot of processes and a lot of thinking and all of this. And there was absolutely zero reason I should ever have had symptoms. Like there was nothing in my family. It just came on like April 15th, 1982. I can tell you what day it was. It just there it is. I felt like I've been lifting boxes, and within a month my hands were claws, and 23 years later my hands still didn't work. So it was a way of the universe kicking me onto my path, I think. So I had to explore a lot of different modalities, and it was, for me, finding dowsing was the most important self-healing tool. The first thing I did, I mentioned my practice areas are earth energies, environmental energies, and psychic. I started off with the earth energies and found that in my home there were non-beneficial earth currents running through the place where I slept that were making me sick. Now, in those days, I collected crystals and put them all around the edges of the room, not realizing that the placement of the crystals actually amplified the non-beneficial energy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this is true for many people who are not well, will get more and more power devices, and they put them all over the house, crystals, all this stuff. And it can actually make the problem worse.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's what can attract some of this alien attention.
I imagine.
Because now you've got this big pulsating power thing.
Resonator.
So you just built a big resonator, like unconsciously. So through dowsing, you learn where to place the crystals and where to place your bed and how to transform the earth energies. So earth energies was one. The environmental energies include food. So I looked at my foods to see, I had the pinpricks in the arm, and they said, no, you have no allergies. When you go to an allergist and I did that twice. Nope, you're fine. There's nothing. I said, well, I know my immune system is not right. So I got the dosing tool out and I started looking at my food to see, is this beneficial for me to eat or non-beneficial? How much of it can I eat? At one point back then, I was drinking diet pop.
Oh,
So I would be thin, right?
yeah.
And then I dosed, actually somebody did it for me at that point. How much diet pop can I drink? I could drink half a tin of diet pop a day safely. And I just thought, well, that's ridiculous. So I just stopped drinking
Yeah.
it. So I
Yeah.
learned which foods help me, which foods to avoid, and also transform the energy of the food. So it's not just detecting, oh, that's good for me, that's bad for me, but it's transforming the energy of the food to take away the non-beneficial aspects to integrate it with my body. So I'm changing my body and I'm changing the food.
Okay.
Now my self-care program is I do a bit of a thymus thump. I ask all my body systems to be in resonance with the beneficial energies of the planet. So I no longer take any drugs. I don't take any vitamin supplements. I drink tap water. I have, like a little bracelets or something, but I do not use expensive devices or emitters or anything. The power is within me. I am the resonator. And it's not just, oh, put that thing in the corner and I'm good. It's refreshing my own energy every day to make sure I'm in alignment for the best and highest good. So earth energy, environmental energy, psychic energy, that's when I started looking at outdated vows and commitments. And when I started working more with the alien stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a process. Sometimes people say, I'll work with somebody once. And they'll say, well, I did that once and I'm still sick. It's like,
Yeah.
It took me 5 years from being crippled to being drug-free. Drug and symptom-free was 5 years. And the aim is to be in a state of grace 24/7, even when I'm asleep. So before I go to sleep, I do programs.
Wonderful
Right?
process.
Well,
Fantastic.
bless you, Susan, and I guess that's what it took in this life to put
Yep.
you on this glorious path of healing and illumination and reassurance and eliminating fears and helping people to believe in themselves and their own power and their own role. So we thank you so much, and we could have gone on like this for several hours, and
It's like,
we probably have in past lives, I'll tell you that.
And we will
I'm
again.
sure we had a good old chinwag at Newgrange once upon a time.
So you'll need to give us the ways you want people to get in touch with you and things like that before we go.
And also the deets for Alien Cosmic Expo. I'm sorry, the name of the hotel escapes me, but if you can just give that to us.
Okay, so for me, my name is Susan Collins. My website is www.dowser.ca.
Good.
I will send your viewers a protocol, my dowsing protocol, if they send me an email, susan@dowser.ca,
Okay.
with protocol in the subject line. I have many books. I have a private practice consulting. I teach globally. I was in Japan last year teaching, Italy, all over the place. So I will go and teach wherever I can, and I'm happy to help. That is my mission, to empower other people. The Alien Cosmic Expo is June 23 to 25 at the Crown Hotel out in Toronto, I believe
Near
it
the
is.
airport. Yes.
Yeah, it's at the airport.
At the airport. And you can go on the website, aliencosmicexpo.com, and get all the information. You can go for the day. I'll be doing just 10 minutes Friday morning to kick off the Experiencer Day. And I think I'm going to give them that 8-year-old stealing cookies. Let's take the fear out of it. I may not be popular. And then on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, I will be doing a 1-hour presentation. What do aliens want? I'll be teaching dowsing. I'll be teaching some basic self-care tools.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for the good work that you're doing. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank you, Susan, and I look forward to seeing you at ACE, Alien Cosmic Expo, this weekend. There are still plenty of tickets available. It's a fabulous event. Dr. Stephen Greer will be there Saturday evening screening his new film, not to be missed. Thank you, Susan Collins, and we look forward to having you as our guest again in the very near future.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Susan. Bye-bye now. Thank you. Thank you for watching Contact TV.
We would like to thank our generous sponsors, Lightwork Hypnosis, UFOria and the UFOria Chronicles, Earth Mystery News, Conspiracy Culture Books, MUFON Canada, Free Experiencers, the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, and Variety Store Productions.
For guest booking information, please email Wes Roberts at producer@contacttv.ca. And don't forget to join us on Facebook and Twitter.